Good morning everybody and welcome aboard Janet 205 with nonstop service here from Andrews Air Force Base to this airport that I cannot pronounce in southern Greenland. We're going to be assisting the government with a special military operation they got going in. They just need to move these officials over up to Greenland. I'm not going to ask any questions, I'm just going to move them up there, call it a day. A couple interesting things about this airport. It is, at least in the flight sim, when I double checked to make sure the airport would work, it is built on a hill, and the runway very much goes up and down the hill. So this is going to be pretty fun. Very, very mountainous terrain around there. And there's no instrument approach procedures that I have access to because I, fun fact, only have the US version of ForeFlight. But luckily, the weather up in Greenland, or at least southern Greenland, looks absolutely beautiful today, and I think we are just going to go shoot an approach, a visual approach through the valley, and land on the hill with a 737. Should be pretty fun. Now, I can already hear some of the comments coming along saying, well, this is unrealistic and stupid because Janet would never operate a route like this. They are doing their military stuff out on the west coast for just contract stuff between bases. This kind of route would be used by actual US military aircraft, not Janet with their civilian 737s. If you clicked on this video and are expecting realistic 737 ops, I think you need to take a step back for a second and think that decision through. This is a completely fictional route. I watched the news yesterday and thought, you know, that would be pretty funny if I did this. This would never happen in real life, hopefully, knock on wood, but we're going to do it in the sim anyways because it's fun, and that's what it's all about, right? Just to review that route briefing real quick, we are Janet 205 today, November 3650 Romeo. We'll be taking off with 28.5, or load in 28.5, I'm going to board a little bit more fuel than that, just because I'm running the APU in the boarding process today. There's also not a published ODP for Andrews Air Force Base, so what we're going to do is we're going to just take off and upon passing 400, proceed on course. I know in real life there'd be ATC to vector us around all the restricted airspace. We're offline today, I don't really care for all that. Looks like a very long and complicated route. Really, this is all just getting me out of the United States, so you'll see we're going to go Hugh Knot Victor 489 to Albany. That's a route I have done more times than I can count. Then Cambridge, again, the VOR I've flown over more times than I can count. And then from there we'll go over to Montreal. And then from Montreal, I think this is called the Shellbrook VOR, but it's in Montreal Center. We are going to then just proceed direct to this waypoint here, which if you look on a map is very, very far away. And then we are in Narsarsuaq. 130 passengers, a lot of people eager to get to Narsarsuaq today over in Greenland. Got something special going on, I don't know. Sounds fun though. Glad I can be a part of this. Cruising flight level 370.77 on the Mach. That'll help us conserve a little bit of fuel if we go a little slower. GPU and our destination Narsarsuaq may be unserviceable if we're at stand 1. Okay, well we have an APU, so that should help. And there's a sea rescue boat that can be taken ashore and launched within 45 minutes if ice conditions occur, or if ice conditions permit. And there's our winds. You can see when I scroll down a little bit, it basically starts off as a crosswind, like a 100-knot crosswind, goes down to like a 50-knot tailwind that then becomes a 50-knot crosswind. So make of that as you will. There's the briefing complete. I'm going to go ahead and start getting the fuel on board, start punching our route in. We'll load up the passengers in a few minutes and we'll get out of here. Alright everybody, they just finished fueling us up, and you can see the passengers are just now walking on board. There's our very special people going to whatever the hell they want to do in Greenland. I don't know, some freaking work vacation or something, I don't know. But fuel's on board, I've got everything set up here. The only thing I haven't done yet is pull up my perf because, well, they just finished fueling us, so it only just now knows what our weight is. So 11 on the cost index, that's why it's a 0.79, because we have to be very conservative on our fuel flow. 22 on the CG. Cruise winds, I'm going to have to cheat real quick and double check that. 259 at 66 set, and I'll just go ahead and press enter there. Insufficient fuel, what are you talking about? 259 at 66. Execute. Well, now I'm not getting anything. Oh, because I never actually set... Wow, okay, that wasn't really the brightest move there. Cruising flight level 370. Now if I press enter, okay, yeah, now we're good. Awesome. 259 at 66, and we'll go ahead and press the N1 limit. Yeah, I guess telling it that I'm going to be cruising at 2,000 feet, yeah, that makes sense why it wouldn't have liked that very much. I'll just use flaps 5 today, no need to push that. CG of 22%, and we'll be using 129, 130, and 138. That's a little bit high for the 73600, but that's okay. So now with those V-speeds in, I can go ahead and punch 138 up here. And just to review our departure procedure, we will be taking off today off of runway 19er right. We'll be using a V1 speed of 129, VR of 130, V2 of 138. We will take off on head and select mode after passing and punch the autopilot on. If we are above 400 feet, we will start that right-hand turn out, following the autopilot direct to Krantz. We have a top altitude that I assign myself of 10,000 feet. Once we're cleaned up and the autopilot is on following its route here, and everything is going smoothly, we will go ahead and increase that up to flight level 370, and of course we are cruising at 0.79, or correction, 0.77 on that Mach today. Alright, with everyone on board, and yes, I know that back door is open. When you load the passengers, it automatically opens that door, and then you have to remember to close it. So that's a little bit annoying, but we'll do that in a second. Go ahead and tell ground to pull my chocks and cones, get everyone out of the way, and let's get out of here. Hop on board, close up the door. Come on, you. There's a pit spot somewhere right there. Boarding door now closed. We will go ahead and hop into the cockpit now. Close up my door as well. Hop inside. I'll go tell ground to move our stuff and get us out of here. Before start, ground services verified are all removed. GPUs are disconnected, and the doors, you can see, are all closed. Beautiful. Jetway is disconnected. Fuel management center pumps with more than 1,000 pounds on board are set off, or correction, set on for more than 1,000, and you can see the lights extinguished, which is good. And the electrical hydraulic pumps verified 1 and 2 on. Anti-collision light is on. Seatbelt sign is on. CDU is set to the takeoff ref, and I'll go ahead and set the monitor side to reference, or to legs, sorry. And we'll go ahead and get our startup clearance. Go let them know, hey, firing up number 2 at this time. Chrono set on. We'll go ahead and leave you set to the right side. Packs off. And set you to ground. That'll open up the starter valve. N2 is starting to increase. You know the drill. You have to wait until 25%. Then we can start adding that fuel in. So there's 15. 20, 21, 22, 3, 4, 5. Just go ahead and throw that fuel on there. Good fuel flow, good N1 rotation, EGT slowly rising. There's star valve cutoff and extinguished. AGT spiked there at 510 and is now going down, and N1 is stabilizing. Oil temperatures and pressure are looking normal. Beautiful. We'll go ahead now and repeat that process for number 1. Alright, that is 2 stable engines. Just went ahead and turned my lights up in here just a little bit. And we'll go through the after start checklist. Or actually, let's just go through a few flows first. Verified generators 1 and 2 looking good. Oh, held out standby. There you go. Gens 1 and 2 looking good. We'll go ahead and flip those on. We'll go kill the APU isolation, or sorry, the APU bleed. Isolation valve closed. Packs coming back on. Electric pump switches coming on. And in that case, we'll go ahead and kill the APU while we're at it. And just going down here, actually I should probably turn the probes on too while I'm here. Going down here, we'll set flaps to 5. Trims are set, and we'll do a flight control check. Getting on my rudders here. Left, right, neutral, back, forward, neutral, left rudder, right rudder, neutral, speed brakes, out, retracted, and actually we want to leave those disarmed for now. Alright, I'll go ahead and run through the after start checklist real quick. And the system annunciator recalled 1 and 2. It's giving me a door warning. Yeah, okay, which door is open? None. Okay, well, that's very annoying. I will go ahead and just try a couple things real quick to troubleshoot that. So just walking down the cabin, it seems so far that all the doors are closed, and I'll even double check way back here. You'll see that it looks like you saw the overwings are closed, the forwards are closed, and yep, these aft doors are closed and locked. And you can actually even see if you go up here, all these are indicated locked, and everything up here is shown as closed and locked. So what that means is there's a bug with this airplane that I've had before. For some reason, X-Plane thinks that one of the doors is open even though they're locked, and I tried toggling them. They don't do anything because guess what? They're locked. All that means is we're going to get a pressurization failure when we pass 10,000 feet. We're just going to have to silence the alarm and ignore that. It's military, so everybody here has their own oxygen masks, right? But in all seriousness, we're just going to ignore that because obviously this is not a real issue. We'll just go ahead and continue on. So recalled, we'll say no alerts given to us, even though we know the doors are, even though we know that there's an issue with one of the doors. Upon passing our VR of 130, we will begin to apply back pressure, rotate, and climb out. Just above V2, we'll go ahead and punch level change on. Upon passing 400 feet, we will start a right-hand turn out on course to cranked and punch LNAV mode on and the autopilot on. If we have any abnormalities before 80 knots, we will close the throttle and apply hard brakes. If we have any engine failure beyond 80 knots before V1 of 129, we will go ahead and abort the takeoff. Beyond 129, we are committed to takeoff. We will rotate and climb out at 138, punch the autopilot on heading mode, declare an emergency, and deal with the issue in the air. Most likely just give ourselves a vector back for runway 19er here at, for a visual for runway 19er here at Andrews Air Force Base. Any questions, comments, or concerns? No, sir. Let's go ahead and run through this takeoff checklist. Let's see, we have this taxi check that's just park and brake and verify fuel pump set, and we're going to leave them both on since we have more than that 5,000 on board right now. Takeoff checklist at the hold point. Landing lights are all going to come on with takeoff clearance obtained. Runway turn offs on, wing light on.
The cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
Everything else looks good. Final verified is clear. I guess we can actually keep rolling here since that's just the ILS hold. Position lights on, transponder verified set 1200 and ALT. And the auto throttles verified are armed. Park and brake verified released. Flight controls free and correct. Speed brakes set, flaps set. Final verified clear. Runway itself verified is clear. We are clear for takeoff. Things look good. We have heading mode on standby there, and I'm going to punch down LNAV, assuming, after passing 400 feet, assuming everything is going to plan. Always keep your eyes outside as you're entering a runway. Even if you're offline, you never know when some dipshit's going to spawn out of nowhere. It's also just good practice that I think is healthy to keep doing. Taxi light should come off as well, by the way. Set my checklist to climb out. Get myself lined up here. Heading and altitude verified, heading 190, 189, that's close, and altitude's within 75 feet of field elevation. We'll go ahead and hold down these brakes, slowly increase to 40%. Stabilized, we'll go down here now and press toga. And I'll try to match my throttles as it does that, release the brakes. Toga is set. Engines look good in normal parameters. Myself a little bit of forward pressure, airspeed alive. $80 knots, continuing. Really lighten up on that forward pressure. 120. V1, rotate. V2. Just going to hold this back pressure as she climbs out of here.
Positive rate.
Positive rate climb gear up.
Gear up.
What was that alarm there? Nothing? Okay. Put that nose down just a little bit, retrim her out, and we've passed 400 feet. So, once I can, I'm going to hit LNAV on. Let the plane start to follow its course there, hopefully. And it looks like it is just nice. LNAV on, retrim it out one more time. We want the plane to be trimmed out before I engage the autopilot, otherwise it has a panic attack. So, not touching anything, autopilot on, and it corrected itself just fine there. I'm going to go ahead and just increase this to more of like a 158. I think that's healthy for a normal climb out. Just letting the plane stabilize itself. You can turn the turn-offs off. Cabin altitude I know isn't doing anything because the plane's broken. That's okay. Well, not okay, but oh well. I'll go ahead and slowly start to increase the speed up to 240 now that the plane is stabilizing itself. Gear off, and airspeed's increasing. Flaps to 2, please. Let her gain a little bit more speed before I bring all the flaps out. Flaps 1. Engine instruments still looking good. No abnormalities. Passing 180. We're going to go ahead and bring flaps to 0. And we should in a second see the leading edge light appear in a second. Yep, there it is. Leading edge are in transit. Looking up here, engine selectors back to off. Everything else is looking fine except for, obviously, cabin pressure. Alright, climb checklist. Landing gear verified is up. All lights extinguished. Autopilot is on command A. Flaps verified are up and set 0. Cross-checked. Auto brakes verified are set off. Landing gear verified is up. And the engine start switches to off. Barometric pressure will be set to standard upon passing transition altitude of flight level 180. So we have a little while. Anti-ice is not required for the time being. Okay, getting ready to pass 10,000 feet. I'm going to go ahead and set my altitude all the way up to verified level change still on. We'll go ahead and set it all the way up to flight level 370. Might as well. So 370 is set. And there's 10,000 feet right there. I'll go ahead and increase you to... I'll actually do a 270 just because of how heavy we are. That way we get into the Mach range just a little bit sooner. There she is. There's that cabin altitude. What do? We've silenced the alarm. I'm such a good pilot. Where's the alarm silencer? Cabin altitude, L1 cut off. Great. Awesome. Alarm has been silenced, and landing lights coming off at this time. And we'll go ahead and double check that checklist. Landing light switches verified off. Seatbelts, yeah, we'll go ahead and turn them off. Oh, that's not exactly what I wanted. Close enough. Center fuel pumps verified are on, and we've got 9,900 on the tanks. And the APU verified is off, and it's cut off. You can see that. And ATC transferred to approach and center, it says on the checklist for whatever reason, as if I wouldn't just do that when they hand me off. That's the cruise checklist complete. We're on our way to Greenland. Well guys, we're at 390. I just brought us up to from 37 up to 39,000 because of how bad the turbulence was at 37. And I guess it's a little bit smoother, but not by much. We're still in the soup, and we still have whatever the hell this is in front of us, if that's even correct. I honestly think this weather radar is broken. It just doesn't look right at all. But we're still in this, and it's still not the smoothest ride, so we're going to punch it up to 41 and see what happens. Hopefully things go okay. We need to watch our fuel, obviously. I'm going to slow us down a little bit for the climb and hit level change and see what happens. It's probably going to take a minute for the autopilot to be able to respond. We're popping out, but we're not completely out of the woods, because look at what's ahead of us. We'll see how high I can get, right guys? Yeah, we're definitely going to go back into this in a second. Well, rip. Okay, we're still here at flight level 410. It's really bad up here still, and it looks like it just gets worse if that radar is accurate, which I don't think it is, but that's okay. The seatbelt sign's still on. We're about an hour out. I'm monitoring my fuel. We've got, let's be conservative and say we're burning 2.5 thousand pounds an hour in each, so that's 5,000 pounds an hour total. So yeah, that's about 2.5 hours left. And we've got 1 hour until that 5950 waypoint. And I just double checked our dispatch. There was nothing in here for moderate to severe turbulence. No SIGMETs for severe turbulence. The most I could do is go to aviationweather.gov and see. Well, they're not even going to show for our route because we are very far away. Yay! I think the best thing we can do at this point is just buckle up for the ride. But man, look at that bank angle. If we have to, we can slow down a little bit more if the gusts start pushing us too high above our current speed there. So we just need to keep a close eye on that. Alright folks, here's what I'm going to do. I just saw a little glimpse of white off just to our left here. In fact, actually we're kind of breaking out of it now. I was wondering if I'd be able to use my heading bug to just stay around the storm, but I just don't know if that's going to happen. Here, we'll deviate off course a little bit here, heading 100, and just to see if I can't stay out of this and weave my way around, maybe, I don't know. If I can stay above this, the autopilot will let me go a little bit higher, but now we're above RVSM, so if I tried flight level 430, I thought this thing didn't go that high, but okay. And now if I just quickly try to turn this back around at a max bank angle, and then I said reduce that Mach speed, and punch level change mode on when able, maybe we could establish a climb before we hit that, if it's even going to be possible. But look, in clear air it climbs no problem. Before we were having issues with that, but also I'm slowing down to help it. You know what, we're going to go up to 450 in a 737. Let's do it. She's leveling off at 4.2. Just get as high as you can go, baby. You got this. She's going to keep a climb going a little bit here. I just need to be careful with my fuel. Above max certified altitude. Dude, I can do what I want, okay? That's not a hazardous attitude at all, is it? No, it's not. Also, we're U.S. government, so I can say that. Alright, let's try to turn it back around a little bit more on course here. Like a 060 maybe? Of course, we turn, that's going to lose altitude a little bit. Yeah, the issue is when we turn, she's losing altitude, so let's reduce the bank there a little bit. We're going to go through this for a second. Come on, establish a climb. There we go. We are surfing the very edge of this. Come on, you got this. Come on, airplane, you got this. Let's turn now a little bit more to the right, if I can, because it looks a little bit clearer there. Maybe a 100 heading again. I know I'm just weaving in and out of things, but that's okay. Whatever gets me away from this. I know the right looked clear a second ago.
Airspeed low.
Airspeed low, okay. That's because she doesn't want to accelerate right now. Don't let her get any slower than that. Is it going to get faster? We probably should give it another 0.4. Yeah, this is definitely above the max certified altitude for this thing. Okay, we've made it through this. Now if I can shoot this gap here, that might work. Let's see if I can't do 0.73 and then just 10 degrees, like a 090 heading, to get through here. There she goes. She's out of the airspeed low range. Who knew cruise could be so exciting, guys? There we go. We're right on 430 now. She's going to climb up just a little bit more. I don't want to vert speed it. I know I could force it into a climb by vert speeding, but I'm worried our airspeed would just drop off too rapidly then. and then it might have a hard time regaining that if we're in a pocket of turbulence. That's my concern there. Oh my god, and there's more bullshit up there. Okay, and it looks like if I turn another 10 degrees to the left, this is probably the highest this plane has ever been. We're at flight level 43, almost flight level 435 now. I got it. We're 194 right now. Don't let it get any lower than that. And then she's back. Okay, so definitely don't let it get below 0.73 on the Mach. We'll keep this heading for now. This should skim you right alongside that cloud there. 2.7 times the two engines we have is 5.4. 12 divided by 5.4 gives me just over 2 hours of fuel, even at this higher power setting. So we can still make Greenland at this point, even with the engines running as they are right now. Oh, watch that airspeed. This is probably the roughest bit of it. Let's go back a little bit more to the right, because it looked like earlier there was a slight hole to the right, and I was kind of brushing along the side of it. We're out of this. I don't think there's anything I can do, though, to avoid what we're about to hit. I'll try to let it accelerate a little bit while we have this patch of smooth air, so that we get rid of that airspeed low alert. And if we can get it up a little bit higher, that's great. I just don't know if that's going to happen. We might just have to hold a 0.74 and our current altitude. So here, I'm just going to hit alt hold where it is and get through this storm and then hope for the best. I think that's the only thing we can do. It's only another 50 miles going through this, and then it says we'll be in the clear. Okay, there's the 30-degree bank there that we just got thrown onto. I'm going to see if... Okay, I got to guard the controls here. Come on, girl, you got this. Keep her straight. Keep her straight. I'm guarding the controls, so if the autopilot disconnects, I can take over. There's the LNAV path. We're going to attempt to re-engage it. If it does anything weird, we will just keep it on heading mode. Okay, we can keep going straight for now, if we have to. Keep the bank angle low, okay? I don't want you to try to... I'm worried it'll hit like a 20 or 30 degree bank, and then a gust will throw it to like 40 or 50 degrees. That's my concern there. Come on, just keep her straight. Keep her straight. Hold the stick steady, that's all you gotta do. I know I'm talking to the autopilot, I don't care. She's still being thrown around, but the plane is holding herself steady on LNAV path. We're burning now just under 2.5 thousand pounds per hour per side. So that's an even better fuel burn than we had before. Just watch that total fuel, that's my... watching that like a hawk, but only 20 miles out until we're out of this, hopefully. I'm skeptical to chase that, but wait a second. Did we just get through that? Looks like we might have. Wow. Okay. Looks like the rest of the buildup is going to be off to our south. There you go. We made it, I think. I'm going to get a little bit further out until I start a descent, though, but there you go. She made it here at a flight level, just under flight level 440, more like a flight level 438. Here, I'll let it get down to 430 for now. And we're going to stay here just till we're well clear of all this, and then we'll slowly get back down to where we belong at 370. But wow, that was not what you normally get in cruise, huh? I mean, we seriously had to be watching this plane. We were very close to getting an autopilot disconnect on one of those bumps. That was my concern there. I mean, the plane was being thrown 20 to 30 degrees off at any given moment, so definitely moderate, at least moderate, possibly severe turbulence there. We'll be using for the descent, we'll be using for landing, sorry, flaps 40, and the reason for flaps 40 is because a new NOTAM dropped. The NOTAM reads that the runway, Narsisuk, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but that's my best shot at it, Narsisuk is reporting FICON 333, 100, 100, 100, and then runway 6 is reported 333, and then I see 100, 100, 100, and then 333. Dry snow on top of ice, snow on top of ice, on top of ice. Okay, so multiple layers of snow and ice here on runway 6. Loose sand, all taxiways poor, aprons poor, runway 6 measured surface coefficients were 37, 36, 39. That doesn't sound very good, does it? and there's significant contamination on runway 6, it says. So that's something to be aware of. Few clouds at 20,000 feet is what they're reported, and I was skeptical of that for a little bit, but if you look straight ahead, it does actually look like it clears up right as we're approaching Greenland. Speaking of descent altitudes, there's a question. Like I said, I have no charts for this area, so how do I know what I can descend down to? Well, what I did is I kind of cheated a little bit. I went ahead and looked at Sky Vector and actually looked at the VFR MEFs, the maximum elevation figures. And the highest one is 7,200. So if we're above 7,200, we can maintain VFR. Now remember, we are in theory VFR once we get below 18,000. Well, actually no, transition altitude here is only 9,000. Keep that in mind. So slightly different when we transition from IFR to VFR. But still, I can get down to 8,000, be above the maximum elevation figure, and be below Class Alpha airspace and safely transition out of that. So that's great. We are still planning on, with the wind 030 at 4, we're still going to plan on shooting that visual in for runway 6. If we don't like what we see, we can always, again, visually make a left-hand turn, well, right-hand turn from our perspective, and that'll set us up for a left downwind for 2-3. Sorry, I'm an idiot. 2-4. 2-4 is the reciprocal of 2-3. Sorry, 2-4 is the reciprocal of 06. Don't listen to me over here. We just have to be careful with the terrain around there. And it looks so far like it should be a fairly clear arrival into Narsarsuaq in the Greenland. You know, I have to admit something. In my 10 years of flying in the flight sim, I've never been to Greenland. I've been to Alaska a couple times, and I've flown out of Iceland once. And I just keep forgetting how beautiful these, I know these aren't the Nordic countries, but still, these Nordic areas are. Man, so the weather did update just 5 minutes ago for Narsarsuaq. It's now 250 at 3, few clouds 20,000, we agree with that based on what we see. Temperature -20, it is cold out there. I'll put the translation in Fahrenheit. Actually, wait, there's a translation right here. It's -4 degrees Fahrenheit. For you guys, and a QNH of 09 or 9 or 5. I almost forgot. I was thinking about transition altitude, even though I'm not past transition altitude. And I was like, oh, what's the altimeter saying? And I see QNH, and I'm like, what's that? 0995, which is an altimeter of 2938 inches of mercury. Actually, a very high pressure altitude. That's almost, I think that's going to be about 800 foot above field elevation. And ladies and gentlemen, one more time for this approach briefing. We are going to be taking runway 6. It's actually directly ahead of us. The winds are out of, I believe, actually exactly 0. Oh, actually, they just updated to 250 at 3. So actually, they just changed on us. Okay, well, my other concern here, so it's 3 knots, which isn't huge. Now, remember, though, there's a very steep incline on runway 6. Landing on runway 6, it's a steep incline upwards. That's going to help our landing performance. Unless it's a stronger, like 10 knot tailwind, I'd actually rather take runway 6 as my calm wind landing runway. Now, I actually have no clue, because I don't have the documents for this airport in real life, other than the little mini diagram that ForeFlight gives me. I have no clue if it's like that in real life. That would be very impressive if it's like that in real life. We're going to be taking runway 6, that'll give me 6,000 feet. We'll just be flying straight in so long as we're not too high. If we are too high, then we'll just follow the pattern basically and join a downwind, upwind to a downwind for runway 6. VRF will be 127 with flaps 40. We'll just be using flaps 40. Regular technique landing, just got to use caution for that slope. VFR approach, we'll run through the checklists as we're on final. In the event of a go-around, we will go ahead and make a left downwind and loop it back around. If the winds aren't good, we'll go ahead and still make a left downwind for 6, turn that into the upwind to runway 24. Any questions? Nope. Awesome. Let's just keep approaching for now. It does look like right around now we can start to give ourselves approximately a 060 heading, and it says that'll line me up. Now the question is, do I want to move myself around a little bit? I might. Oh, and I can probably increase my my rate of turn there, given that we're no longer in a thunderstorm. Wow, that is so pretty. Imagine living right there Well, it is negative 5 out right now, but still. This is the coolest. Why have I not been here before? I mean, I get it's cold, but wow. At this point, I've got the terrain around me in sight. I'm going to bring it down to 5,000. And I'm actually going to bring one notch of flaps out below 250. And we'll start a very nice descent. In fact, actually, you know what? We'll just do a controlled descent at 1,500 feet per minute like I did before. And actually, we're almost 10 miles out, so what I might end up doing is just looking in front of me and seeing, that's the airport right there. Okay, we're actually pretty high. So I'll take the airplane from here. Let's close the throttle. I'll take the throttles too. Bring some more flaps in, and you know what? I gotta admit something. I should have just followed that VNAV profile instead of trying to stay high, but I think we might be too high for this approach. So here's what we'll do. We're definitely too high for a stable approach. I'll bring flaps 5 in, though. If I can't get it down here, let's just deploy the speed brakes and see if we can't make that. I don't think we'll be able to. I don't think it would be safe. And in fact, actually, if speed is below, I believe it's 250 for landing gear. 270, okay, we'll go ahead and bring the gear down as well. Why not? Gear coming down. That'll help with some drag, but I think we're going to have to fly the upwind and just turn that into a traffic pattern. But that's okay. We can keep the gear down anyways. Trim around a little bit. Pattern altitude, so the field elevation here is 100. Pattern in this type of airplane is going to be down 1500 AGL, so it'll be around 1600. So that's okay, we can actually keep this descent going, slow it down a little bit more. And in fact, this really isn't horrible because I'd rather, I will definitely disengage those flight directors though, those are a little bit useless at this point. And just set the autopilot up to something usable. In fact, actually, let's go ahead and leave it at 160 and 8,000, so if we have to say, oops, sorry, we can't land here, we can just punch the autopilot on and it'll climb us out of here.
25.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to make that final. That's okay. We'll just fly around the airport and basically join the pattern at 1,500. It'll help us get a little bit more stable anyways. There we go, trimming around. Let's go flaps 10 at this point. And we can turn the runway turn-offs on. Speed brakes. At this point, I think we should be safe to make this normal pattern, so I'll retract them. Gears down 3 green. Checked. Awesome. We'll keep the speed at around the 150 range for now. And you see that bump that I was warning you guys about? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And we're just going to go ahead and hug this hill. I'm sure we're going to get a terrain alert, but in fact, actually, you know what? Let's keep ourselves a little bit higher. I mean, why not, right? We've got the speed, although I got to be careful because my engines are going to take a second to respond there. Let's keep the flaps where they are at flaps 10. We'll bring 15 in when we're on downwind, and then we'll just progressively bring the rest in from there. So let's just hand fly it for here. I'm about 1,000 above pattern altitude, but I mean, why get any closer to that terrain? This is also good because it gives me a chance to observe the field conditions and see, you know, hey, I've never been to this airport before, I don't have charts for it, what does it look like? And you can see we've got the parking area right there further down 06, and there's a very steep incline that we're going to be landing on. Let's go ahead now and start this crosswind turn. I don't know why I'm using my rudders. It says, well, I mean, why not? It doesn't hurt. And we'll start to descend it down. Oh, actually, you know what? I might keep some power in for this. Just because you got to be a little bit careful with chopping and dropping it, because remember, this is not a Cessna. This is a 737, so it's not going to turn quite as well, although I think we've made this turn. Let's go ahead and just take a little bit of power out. Let it descend on its own. Bleed off a little bit of speed, which is okay. Remember, 15 is my pattern. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and bring it in flaps 15 now. That's 400 to go before pattern. Retrimmer. There she goes. Cool. And we're looking at 150. Remember, 128 is our VREF. So there's your pattern altitude right there. Actually, we're still a little bit above pattern, but that's okay. There's no airspace restrictions around here. Flaps 15 are currently set. I'm going to extend myself out just a little bit, kind of over towards this land, just to give myself more time to get stable. We don't really have any tight constraints here. Gears down 3 green. Let's go ahead and at this point, sorry I was just checking something there, let's go ahead and just bring flaps to 25. And now she really wants to pitch down on me. Airspeed's going to bleed off, I'll just retrim it. And keeping the power where she is, let's go ahead and right over here start a nice gradual turn inbound. Just watch your bank angle there. Don't want to exceed, I wouldn't go more than this bank angle here. Granted, I can bleed my speed off a little bit, but still, runway turnoffs are off, everything's set continuous, speed brakes are armed, flaps aren't set yet. I want to wait until I'm lined up to bring the rest of those flaps in. 1,000 feet's only for that terrain ahead of me. Let's keep this turn going, Watch your airspeed too. Remember well, you guys know this, stall speed increases as you turn, so just be aware of that. Don't want to pull back too quickly. Currently indicating 1300 here, turn in final. There's the runway in sight. I can square off this base. Bring flaps to 30 now. Reduce power. Try to start to get it down to that 128. Still showing too high. Alright, we'll reduce power. Just do this. Keep in mind, you are going to get an illusion at this runway because it's sloped. You will think that you're lower. You'll think that you're higher than you actually are. So you gotta be careful with that. You see, I might think right now, looking at this, that this is way too high, but it's actually a little bit low. So let's bleed the speed off to get it down to 128. Level there. I'll go ahead and bring flaps to full now. Gear down 3 grain, flap set.
400.
Autopilot set up. There you go. That's 128 there. Oh, a little bit low. Careful.
300.
Bring power in. Power. There you go.
200.
Hold this right here. Gears down 3 green. Yeah, so I'm going to slam it here in a second because I'm below VREF. So I need to just keep 50, this power in. 40, 30, watch it 20, go up on me. 10. Watch it go up on me. And there we go. Keep a landing off center line in this stupid thing. Ooh, easy on those rudders. And now we're going to go downhill, so let's put those reversers in.
80 knots.
And I'll go ahead and start using manual braking, stow those reversers, and we'll make this exit right here. Come on, a little bit slower than that. And why do I always throw my passengers around when I think I'm good to exit? Okay, taxi light's coming off. Speed brakes are going to be retracted at this time. Flaps coming up. Come on, a little bit of power to get up this hill here. Please, please and thank you. Maybe turn the auto brakes off. Well, they've already been disarmed, so come on, get off this hill. There you go. Who's a good airplane? And we'll go turn our lights off. Engines to continuous. Ring light off. Fire up the APU. Do I even have the wingspan to clear this? I might not. That's okay. And now look, she wants to slow down again. Repeats off. I swear I'm doing my best here. Come on, you got this. I can turn the turnoffs off now. And here, we'll just finish this check once we stop here, because we need to take a minute for the APU to fire up anyways. So we'll stop right here for now. There we go. Park and brake on. Continuing now. Propeat's off. Engine start switches to off. Taxi light is off. The runway turn-offs, landing lights off, position lights set steady. Did I not turn the strobes on? I 100% didn't. Man, I was tired this morning. I'm sorry about that, guys. That's a bit of a screw up there. Taxi clearance has been requested. At the gate, shutdown checklist. Taxi light is off. Runway turn-off certified are both off. And park and brake is set. The isolation valve for the APU, well, APU gen is now available. Isolation valve, auto, and the APU bleed is on. APU gen's on. Engine start switch is off. And we'll go ahead and hit that chrono. And the seatbelt sign can come off. Well, boys, I think that's going to do it. We can get up and let our very fine folks off here at Greenland in Narsisuk. If anybody could correct my pronunciation on that, by all means, feel free to. But that's going to do it. We have made it safely to Greenland. We'll go ahead and hop off this airplane. As always, please let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I really enjoy making these videos so far. I'm always looking for feedback, so if you didn't like something, let me know. Hope you guys did enjoy, though, and hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. I guess there's not really much more to debrief other than fun, good flight. Have a good rest of your day, everybody. See you all next week. Have a good one.